discipline. It's really important to understand the rules in any of the disciplines, but even more so when you're doing random words. In the random words, you have 20 words per column, 5 columns per page, and if you make one mistake in a column, memorization mistake, that's half the column. If you make 2 memorization mistakes, that's 0. And any spelling mistakes count as 0 points for that word, but don't cancel out other words within the column. So I'll give you an example of 2 competitors, called competitor A, competitor B, and they've both done 4 columns and 12 words on their 5th column. Last column you get 1 point for every word you get correct, so they can still score points for their last column. The only thing is that in their penultimate column, their 4th column, they've both left 2 gaps at the bottom of that column. So for competitor A, who writes all the words he's memorized through to his 12 words on his last column, he gets a total of 12 points for his last 2 columns. He's got 0 for the column that's got the 2 gaps at the bottom. Whereas competitor B, who understands the rules, crosses out his 12 words on the final column and declares his final column's the one with 18 in it, and says he finished at the 18th word. So in that case, he gets 18 points for his last 2 columns. So he's got more points despite declaring less words. So it always makes sense to understand the rules and declare the option that gives you the most possible score, the highest possible score. Always, if you finish a complete column, you can write 1 word on the following column, because although it will be wrong, you score half what you attempted, so it gives you plus a half, which is then rounded up to 1 point. So you get an extra point for just any random word you write on your final column, as long as all the previous ones are complete. There's no gaps in those. There are other things that you can do in terms of knowing the rules, just to help you check what you've recalled. The makeup of the words are 80% concrete nouns, 10% verbs as they're found in a dictionary in their infinitive form, and 10% abstract nouns. So because the verbs are as exactly as they're found and taken from a dictionary, you can be sure that, for example, if you write walking down, it's going to be wrong, whereas walk, the infinitive, would be correct. Also, as it's taken from the dictionary, we tend to not have abbreviations, so things like telephone rather than phone, refrigerator rather than fridge will be the words that will be used. We also try to avoid any words that have an American versus an English, British English different spelling. So if in doubt, always use the British English equivalent, although we try to avoid those. There may be some instances where it comes through. And of course, we won't use words that only exist in American, like sidewalk or popsicle, these sort of things. We'll use the English equivalents of pavement and ice lolly, that sort of thing. Also, no plurals, because of course plurals aren't in the dictionary generally. So unless it has to be a plural, like trousers, scissors, pliers, these sort of things that you can only have a plural, those will be written that way. We won't use, for example, singers for a plural. It would be singer. Also, there's something called the mouse rule, which relates to if you've got a spelling mistake and a memorization mistake. In the word mouse, M-O-U-S-E, N comes before S. So this reminds us that when we're marking, we take first of all a memorization mistake and then apply any spelling mistakes after that. So it means that we're not going to be discounting spelling mistakes by rounding up. So if you've got 1 mistake in a column, that scores 10, and then 1 spelling mistake will give you 9. Obviously, you can have more than 1 spelling mistake. The thing with spelling mistakes is be careful that they don't make another word. If a spelling mistake like dairy is written as diary, that's a different word, so therefore it's counted as a memorization mistake, even though it might be just a slip of the pen in writing it down. So always check very carefully that the words you've written are correctly spelt, because you could lose a lot of points by just careless mistakes such as that. So lots of things you can do in random words just to check, to be sure that your recall is accurate before you submit the paper, and then also, of course, check that you're using the best use of the rules, so you're not throwing away points by giving away or losing columns that you could otherwise have gained just by declaring where you finish. It always is a great shame when we see competitors who've memorised quite a lot, but they've just made sufficient mistakes to score very low or zero in the discipline, just because they didn't understand the way in which it would be marked. So hopefully that's been useful and of interest. Next week, next discipline. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.